Hello and welcome everyone. How are you all? Sorry, the sun's shining right in my face. Oh, I'm gonna have to lean back a bit. Hello and welcome. Yes, most of us have just been on Martin's stream, which was very cool. 6 years old, man, before the world went completely nuts. How interesting. So today we are going to have a look at a few other nuts things in history and a few other, a few of the bits and pieces of stories they want us to believe. So hello to everyone in chat. Hippie Shake as normal. Thank you for being here. And Martin Leedkey, subscribe to Martin. And of course, Martin has got an event coming up in Wales, I believe. I don't have the link, but go and check out his site, his channel, and you'll find it. And go and join. Go and meet your tribe. Support Mr. Martin. Hello, Spellerine. How are you? Jolly Man. Hello. Who are we? Donna Marie. Hello. Fatty Twist is my parrot. I've got a parrot called Fatty Twist. Wow. Who else have we got here? Vinny Doom. Hello. Thank you for being here. Yes, Sandra, I know that some of the pictures today are a bit, not so happy. It's sort of showing the destruction of the old world, but we're going to check them out and the story that they give us and see if it really makes any sense. Hello, Sunbeam. How are you? Howard, thanks for being here. Kiwi MacArthur. Hello to New Zealand, and sorry, my hair got a wash last night, so it's taken on a life of its own. Dillyman, hello. HWMO Liberty. HWMO Liberty, I think I got that right. Atori K from New South Wales coast, just south of me, hello. Sandra, hello. Shawnee B. Robin Lee, hello. Kimmy, of course, is the one who made my awesome hat. I'm just looking for it. It's over in the corner there, I think. Check out Rock Tops with a Z on Instagram if you want to get some really cool handmade old world fashion. Benjamin, hello. Who else have we got here? Nate. Hello, Nate. Go. It is time to go. From Germany, how are you? I'm going to be flying into Germany in about 10 weeks. So there you go. India, hello. Thanks for being here. Wilma Remy. Thank you very much. From Brizzy, just north of here, Vegas. Lindy from Wales, hello. All right, so let's jump into it. We have a few things to cover. I just got to get the right page up here. So I'm going to share my screen. We'll jump into it. I took the dome down yesterday too. Just a bit of background info on me, what's going on. The dome is down. So it's getting packed into a shipping container tomorrow, along with everything, pretty much everything I own in the world is going into that. And I'm taking off to the US of A on Thursday for like 16, 17 days and back to Australia for our Mullaney event. Did I put the link underneath? I can't remember. If you're in Australia, East Coast, Queensland, come and join myself and Kelly. Pretty sure Dale Holmes is going to be there as well. And we're going to have a camp out. 2 nights, 1 day. So Friday night, Saturday and Saturday night. It's going to be awesome. We're going to play games. We're going to meet each other, So come up and meet your tribe, find out who's around you, build lifelong friendships and all that kind of stuff. And there are still a few tickets left. It's getting very low now. There's a couple of tickets left if you want to come on the Great Tartarian Tour. All right, so let me share my screen. Where are we here? All right, so this is the National Hemp Association, and this is talking about the World's Fairs, forerunner to hempcrete, introduced in 1892. So it talks about the Chicago World's Fair. Okay, blah, blah. You know, we all know most of the details for this, but it says a new building material, you know, hyphenated, was introduced. It was a revelation for Americans, though it had been known in Europe for many years. The material was called staff, and it was a mixture of hemp, cement, and plaster of Paris. It was used for sculptures, murals, and bas-relief decorations, and could be molded and worked into all sorts of artistic expressions. Most of the buildings built for the World's Fair were not intended to be permanent structures. So we're going to look into that narrative and see if it makes any sense at all. The hemp staff was made into slabs and nailed to wooden walls. Wooden of the buildings. Several buildings do, however, remain to this day, which is interesting because the buildings that remain to this day are not wooden. They are masonry. They are stone and brick. So they still try and push this narrative, though. When I was looking for the information for this stream, it seems to have changed a bit. And we know this, right? They're constantly changing the story as we, you know, come up with new information and kind of expose them. They're not really stating that all the buildings, you know, were all built of wood and staff, you know, plaster, which they were definitely saying before. They were like, oh, they're just temporary. We whack them up in a year and all this kind of stuff. And it's just because it was plaster. So then we knocked it all over. The Columbian Exposition was the greatest meeting of artists since the 15th century. From an article called American Sculpture at the World's Columbian Exhibition, we find this quote: the works of the ambitious outdoor sculptural program were executed in the impermanent medium of staff, a mixture of plaster of Paris and fibrous materials such as hemp fiber and straw. So, you know, another point, right? 1893, they had hemp. They had hempcrete, basically. Hempcrete's only just really making a comeback sort of now, you know, maybe for the last 5 years or so. Of course, it's a great building material made from renewables. You know, they always go on about, you know, they want to save the environment and all this kind of stuff, because us nasty little humans, we keep putting CO2 into the atmosphere. But they had all this stuff, you know, 120, 130 years ago. But of course, they don't release it, do they? So, you know, it's just something else to let you know that the narrative is complete quackery. All right, now I'm just going to come back for a sec. I do have a generator running. So is my sound okay? Can you hear that generator in the background? If so, I'm sorry. I have to charge all my stuff. I'm off the grid at the moment, and I've taken down all my solar system and everything. So I'm just running on a generator. So hopefully it's not too loud for you. Let me know if the sound is good. And hang on, can I make myself bigger? Ooh, there I go. Look at that. I'm bigger. All right, so what have we got here? I've got a few more bits on the World's Fairs. So let's see, let's share the screen again. And thank you all for being here. 150 of you. I appreciate you all. It's 8:30 in the morning here in Australia, New South Wales. All right, so this is Britannica, and it's just talking about the great exhibitions. And it tells us, you know, obviously the first one was 1850 in London, England, and we've all heard of the Crystal Palace, which was, of course, designed by Joseph Paxton. who was a gardener. And the story says he was a gardener, a landscape gardener, and started building greenhouses. And so they've attributed all these amazing greenhouses, which, by the way, they knocked them over too. They're all attributed to Joseph Paxson, and we find these greenhouses everywhere. Well, we did. And then, from that, he built the largest glass and iron building in history, as far as I know, which, by the way, they then took down and moved. They say they took it apart, they moved it a few kilometers away and rebuilt it. But when they rebuilt it, it looked different, which is interesting. So, they tell us it's all to do with trade and all this kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. Australia, of course, had World's Fairs as well. There was one in Hobart, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane. There was even one out in the desert in a town. Was it? I'm just trying to think of the town. I think it was Coolgardie. I don't think it was Kalgoorlie, which is literally in the middle of the desert. So there's not much of an explanation for that one. And this just goes down showing us all these amazing buildings, right? 1876, all the old world tech they had there. And so that's really, I just wanted to sort of cover that bit. And I think I have to reshare before we can, change this. So let me see. I'm not sure. I've only got one screen at the moment. Oh my gosh, I've gone invisible. Sorry about that. I'll just turn a light on. Shine a light on me. Is that better? The sun has gone above the window. Okay. Martin Leedkey, how you going, mate? Thanks for being here. Sherry Ives, hello. Thank you for being here as usual. Donna Marie Farrell, Groove Thief, Denise Menace, Robin Lee, Alpha Billy, KB. Oh, Robin B and KB. I wonder if Bumblebee will come along. All right. Let's have a look at this one. This is just going to show us some of the amazing structures, right? Originally built for the World's Fairs. Of course, the Crystal Palace, the Eiffel Tower. That's right, for the World's Fair. The Krizikova Fountain of Prague, and this is still there. And obviously the fountains everywhere. I've used this before. What is this thing? I don't want to subscribe. Go away. Fountains, they knew how to plumb. They had plumbing systems everywhere, pressurized plumbing systems that could push water, 20, 40, 50 feet in the air. And they had their drinking fountains everywhere. The Chicago Fine Arts Building on a canal, don't you know? Man-made canal, man-made building. And this, they're telling us, was built as a non-permanent structure. It was just there for the fair, and it was built with the intention to knock it over. So they say. Does that make any sense at all? The Magic Fountain, another fountain, right? Again, something they've taken over, and now they just give us, taps and bottled water that's full of things that aren't water. It's not structured or anything like this. So we've gone from this world that had tech that was built for us to a world run by, the evil ones. A world that is basically built to, diminish us, to make us weaker, and to give them more control. And we can see the big push going on at the moment, with all these 15-minute cities and everything else that's going on. Brain implants, if you want one, VR, they're trying to create another world of control. So don't buy into that. It's always released as fun at the start, right? But it never ends up being fun. This must be the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge. Treasure Island, sitting underneath the Bay Bridge, was built to celebrate the opening of the Bay Bridge and the Golden Gate Bridge, which coincided with the 1939 World's Fair. So many of these structures that we still do have are attributed to World's Fairs, because they can't explain them any other way. And I mean, it's not much of an explanation either. The atomium in Brussels, the Space Needle, Seattle. This is, of course, later because the World's Fairs are still going, by the way. Now they're just trades fairs. They after 170 years since the first one, they can't construct anything like they did in the original ones, but they want us to believe their narrative, which doesn't make sense. The Unisphere, of course, they love to promote their ideology, right? We all live on a globe shooting through space at 666,000 miles a second, or whatever it is, a minute. 666, don't you know? More spheres. All right, and this is obviously a later fair. Knoxville, the Sun Sphere, another sphere. Man, right? They love their spheres. No sphere. And Knoxville, Tennessee. There was actually in Tennessee. They've got a Parthenon. What's that? What's the main city called? Okay, it's escaped me. But there's a Parthenon which is the same size as the Parthenon in Greece, same footprint basically. And that one as well, they tell us they moved. Like that one was only, a couple hundred meters or something, but they tell us they moved that one as well. So this is Vancouver. So this is 86, right? This is the stuff they could build. Nothing even in comparison to the old world fairs, what they were building in the old world expos and fairs. And what's this saying? Oh, looking like a cross between the Opera House. The Opera House wasn't built for a World's Fair, and I think that is a new, that's clearly a newer construction. It doesn't have the style, right, of the old world. The Millennium Dome. What are they trying to tell us here? All right, looks a bit like a brain, right, with some kind of Elon Muskish kind of thing on the top, pumping in thoughts, or or maybe it's our realm, but of course they have to curve it, and free electricity antennas up into the ether, and a few more. So we can see that the World's Fairs are still going today. So now I guess we get into the pictures, and the pictures, unfortunately, don't get too sad because they're not, we none of us like to see this, the old world destroyed, all this art, all this creativity, what we know, through all these years of research. I've been going 5 years. I think Martin's up over 10 years now. We know that these buildings are from an old world. Like, my personal perspective is that they were the old world cities that didn't get destroyed through cataclysms and resets, and they were just unearthed and taken over, used for indoctrination, right? They were used to show us the world that they wanted us to live in. We had the World's Fairs passports for kids to really make sure that they were learning their new paradigm and all this kind of stuff. Sorry, coffee sip time. All right, so let's get in and have a look at some of these pictures of the destruction. So this is what they did to the old world, which, it also shows you, what they thought of the previous world, right? That it couldn't be, because it was free, it was empowering, and they're into control, right? Those nefarious ones who don't seem to like us very much. So here we go, pictures. So the main point I want to make about this is, as we'll go through looking at these, just ask yourself, is this a building made of wood and hempcrete that was non-permanent? It was just made for, a few months. This is 1902, this image, and they're destroying this beautiful old tower. What is that? It says France. Can't read it very well, but you can see here, this is what we had. And it's not just the tower, it's everything around it. Look at this building. You know, we still see these in our cities, these buildings, but of course it had to go because this was part of a complete city. And here, again, that's the remains of the tower. Now, the question is, does that look like the remains of wood and plaster? Or could there be maybe a few bits of masonry in there? What do you reckon? We've got the old world street lamps. So to me, these were complete functioning old world cities. Maybe not completely functioning as far as, you know, the electrical component, the free electricity that they were using, but complete as far as the buildings were still there and in really good condition. But unexplainable, right? And unwanted by the nefarious ones, that those who came in and basically did rule us, right? Like that they hoodwinked us. They got us in, introduced populations that didn't know who they were, when they were, where they'd come from, and they just gave them a narrative, the narrative for their new world, right? Because they needed to order it, if you know what I'm saying. From the old world order to the new one. So here we go again, right? Just destroying these old buildings. And lots of these buildings, like this one, were blown up, you know, destroyed with dynamite and stuff. And many, many more of them were actually burnt. And they sort of say, oh, well, it just burnt down, right? As they tell us, right? With all the great fires, you know, brick, metal, and glass burns, don't you know? But again, this one, does this look like wood? Or does this bit here maybe look like a big iron beam that's bent out? Does this look like brick, or does this look like a covering of staff, right? Hempcrete, plaster that's been nailed to wood? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Here's another one. And I mean, look at, you know, what kind of a human, what kind of a person would you have to be to destroy this? Now, unfortunately, this is money, right? The Monai. Unfortunately, that they've introduced this concept of money, that you need money to survive. You need, you know, money makes you successful, all this kind of stuff. Money is freedom. And then you pay people money and they will do anything. Well, some people will do anything, like destroy this. Like I don't, it's just so inconceivable to me that someone would take money, which we now know is worthless paper, to destroy this amazing old world infrastructure. Look at this guy with his hands on his hips. He's either not very happy or he's like, yeah, take the, oh, look, another one. The hand on hip brigade. They're hip people, don't you know? Another one. Again, what do you think? Wood and plaster? Or maybe something more? And not to mention the size. Like, look how tall they are. This is the fence and the people. So these are big structures for the 1800s, built out of wood and plaster, where this clearly looks to be brick on the outside. You know, they sort of give us this story, but then they just, you know, brush over the actual buildings that were brick, that had brick facades. They don't like to mention them because they have experts, right? And if we believe experts, then they get their story through. Another one. What do you reckon? Brick or wooden plaster? You tell me. Let me know. I mean, you can see down here. Yep, it looks like there's some wood in there, but doesn't look like plaster to me. I mean, look at the background here. This is all completely destroyed. And of course, they had electricity, right? And this was, you know, in the 1800s, literally a couple of years after, Edison and the DC, the AC/DC war and getting electricity out, like not long after, they could suddenly light up, whole cities like this. So who was wiring this up? Who trained all the electricians? Who built all the power stations? Where did all these light globes come from in such a short amount of time? We've all seen this one. Standing, I still don't know if this is a real or photoshopped, because how did this dude get up there? And he's just he's just hanging there with his bowler hat on and his spectacles and his big bushy moustache. Like, how did he get there? And why isn't he worried that he's going to fall off? And, up here we can see there's lights, right? This whole thing is wired electrically. This is 1893. So that would be Chicago. You can see the old world buildings in the background. But I suspect that this front bit might be superimposed, or at least, so it was on the ground. They took the photo, then they just sort of made it look like he was up in the air. And like I said, how do you get up there? What's he doing there? This is just to show you, this is a design. This is a gate. This is what they used to do when they wanted to build a gate. Design me a gate. And they would be like, how amazing can I make it? Right? How much creativity can I put in there? How much, symbolism? We see these symbols everywhere. Excuse me. The Fibonacci spirals, which are everywhere in nature. What are they trying to tell us with all this stuff? Because it's the same across the realm. All these same symbols and logos, right? The same facading. But this is a gate. Design me a gate. Okay, here you go. Like, you give that to someone today, go and give that to a wrought iron worker, and they would crap themselves. They couldn't make this. Now you get a gate and it's just wood, right? A few bits of wood nailed together. Obelisks everywhere, right? And again, you can see this nature theme through the facading. Of course, statues everywhere. It looks like we've got a knight here. Got all these weapons. It kind of looks like they do this a lot with the weapons, with the headless knight and lots of coats of arms, but you can see the bit coming down. He looks like a knight, so I'm not sure if that's been added or not. Look at this for a statue. Look at this veil coming down. Right, these statues that we see are impossible. And again, the narrative is made from plaster casts. Right, what happens when it rains is my question. Wouldn't it all melt? I don't know. I suppose hempcrete doesn't. If they had the right stuff in there, maybe not. But clearly not the stuff that we see, like the marble statues. They want us to think we went from these amazing marble statues to plaster, right? The fall of man, the fall of creativity. This is just to show you what they love to do. You can see this scene here. This is what it used to be, and they're pointing out this tower here, which we can see. Which one is it? One with the dome. I think it's this one here. Still there, but this is what we used to have, right? And you can see here we've got, like, they've reverted to wooden planks for the bridge. Back here, it had some kind of covering, at least, if it wasn't made of masonry, full masonry. We've got metalwork everywhere. We've got lamps out here on bridges, all right, which is still there. Now, they can explain how they can run this today, but 1900, how are they getting all the power out on these bridges? Like the whole electricity thing, right? Electricity. We elect people to power, which we need to stop doing, by the way. It's the L factor, the Elohim. It gives us a good clue as to who these ones that wish to rule us are, right? This is just to show you, this is the old world, right? Build me a building. All right, here you go. Look at these. And these have all been built. These were all standing at least at one point. And what do we get today? We get square, right-angled, glass, ugly brutalism. Right? It's literally called brutalism. Right? And all these have the similar features, right? The domes, the spires, the windows, the cymatic windows, all this antiquitech on the roofs, drawing down free energy, the columns, right? The amazing facades. But not anymore. Not anymore. I put this in because, oh my God, don't you know, this is an architectural design. This is all we find when we look up for designs for buildings and blueprints and things, and these are what are given to us as architectural designs. Now, you cannot build this tower here from this picture. Literally, they've gone in and they've just drawn the floor plan. Okay, this is the floor, right? A couple of columns in there, some walls, and that's it. But as we can see, this tower was basically just a stairwell to go up to the top. So what were all these towers really for? This is what it looked like. But why would you need to get to the top? We can see here, it looks like there's a little balcony. All right, now we've all seen the pictures of airships. Was this some kind of an airship docking station, an airport, right? Where you climb up here, the airship tethers to the top, maybe recharges at the same time, I don't know, and the people walk on board. And now, of course, we have aeroplanes, right? They go in the air above the plane. Back to a bit of destruction. And again, these are, a bit sad to see the old world destroyed, but this is still going on. And, we can stop this. If enough of us stand up and say no, then they can't really do much. And of course, the best thing we can do to depower these people, to take their power away, because that's what it's all about. They stole the power, like literally, they stole the power, the free energy. If we want to depower them, we use their tricks, right? We take away their money. We stop paying these people, right? Stop paying them our hard-earned sweat equity and exchanging that for worthless paper, which they have used, right? They give us worthless paper and get us to trade real resources like land, like forests, and then they go and cut them down and then blame us for too much CO2 when, hang on, don't trees take away and filter CO2? I mean, it's crazy that people even believe this narrative. Again, with the electricity and just completely covered, right? How are they doing this? This, whatever they can't explain in photos, they just sort of, ignore, right? They just gloss over it. No, we don't ask questions. But unfortunately for them, we have been asking questions, and some big questions over the last, especially 5 years, but the last sort of 10 or 12 years, it's all coming into the public consciousness. And this is Luna Park at Coney Island in New York. There you go. Coney Island, where Tesla, so we're told, drove a car around, and this car didn't have an engine. It just had an aerial coming out the back. I mean, obviously had some kind of drive system, but no petrol internal combustion engine, just a free energy antenna. More. So this is Sprengung des Bahnhofs, February 1961, and just destroying these old world buildings. Again, doesn't look like it's made from wood and plaster, does it? Look at this rubble. And I mean, this, right? Getty Images. People, like, they don't own this image, but of course they're putting it out there that they do, right? We own this. We own this photo. No one from Getty Images took this photo. Right? It's just this control that they want to get into our heads so that we all are controlled, right? So that we all toe the line. That's quite a bell. Look at the size of this. I mean, you'd have to be have to have a bit of faith to stand under it. But this, I'm not sure exactly what it says. I'm pretty sure this was from a World's Fair, but these bells, man, that they were huge. I think the next one's the Liberty Bell. Oh no, this is the one in Russia. Many of them cracked. What cracked them? I mean, look at the thickness of this bell. Imagine how much bronze went into this. Right, look at the size of it. I mean, how did they forge this? How did they create it? How did they move it? And this doesn't, we have these bits here that you could hang it from, but, we've got this cross on top, like, any way of hanging it, cables would have to go out sideways, right? Pretty much. Like, what were they used for? Was it just the frequency, or was there another use in there maybe? Were they even hung? I don't know. But, we have many examples of these ridiculously big bells. All right, the Liberty Bell must be coming up later. This is Chicago 1894 World's Fair, just, showing a bit of the destruction and what definitely looks like metal in here. It's twisted. The old made from plaster, apparently, statues, and they've whacked a bit of wood in the window, right? Just to make the narrative seem real. But this is how they treat the old world, just like a rubbish tip. All right, something to be destroyed. Here, now this is, I can't zoom in on it for some reason. This is after a World's Fair. This is after a fire. And again, trying to tell us this is wood. This is a metal framed structure. The whole thing's metal. And then, surrounded by brick and masonry, basically. But they want us to think it's all wood, impermanent. And look at the size of this. This is a 2-story building here. So look at the size of this. Why make it all so big? Why make all these things so hard for yourself? Now, of course, unless it was easy, which it wouldn't have been with the technology they say they built it with. Oh, hang on. All right. For some reason, it has frozen. So I'm going to stop the share. I'm just going to stop that. And we can jump back into it. All right. 300 of you, 324 of you here. Thanks for being here. Who have we got here? Donna Marie. Yeah, ridiculous, right? Replacing the clocks. Yeah, definitely. And, a lot of these places where clocks were, well, clocks are today, they may not have been clocks originally. There are photos around with different things in those circles. So it's just all clocks, right? Why? So we know when to get up and go to work, when we're allowed to go home and have a few hours of life to ourselves. And, of course, the Prague clock is very interesting. That they rebuilt that in the 40s, I think it was, or refurbished it, and they changed the map in the middle of it, which is interesting. Hello, Francesco. There seem to be many buildings throughout the UK, Europe, and beyond that were destroyed. Yeah, so many. Same in Australia. And we sort of saw, I guess it was the 80s when it first started, all these groups started, when they realized what was happening, and they got together and said, no, you can't knock these buildings down. So a lot of buildings have been saved, but unfortunately, nowhere near the amount that have been destroyed. All right. JT, hello, welcome. Yep, metal, man. It's not wood. I agree. Hello, Groove Thief. April Parker, hello. If you don't know your history, you're bound to repeat it. Exactly, right? History is written by the victors. And if you win a war, you are not going to write the bad stuff about yourself. You're going to, get whoever writes the books to make you look amazing, to make you look like the good guy and the enemies look like the bad guy. It's all opinion, right? Opinion stacked on opinion. Hippie Shake, as always, thank you for being here, and all other mods. Sharon Saunders, hello, thank you for being here. Mr. Super Sidewinder, whoop whoop. Yes, whoop whoop indeed. Sorry, I have a fly in my face. Bells sound the alarm. Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, man, if you see all the animals, if you see the birds taking off all together, it's a sign, man. Follow them. Get out of where you are because something's coming. But yeah, they say the bells used to be there to keep the trolls away. Maybe we need some bells on YouTube, right? Because we have a few trolls. But yeah, and good vibrations, right? Good vibrations, just like the Beach Boys told us. Annie D, hello. Copper is antibacterial. Nice. But they decided to replace all fittings in hospitals with crap. I agree. Pipes used to all be copper. Now they're plastic, right? So plastic sheds microparticles. So they're literally trying to fill us up with plastic. It's like Rockefeller said, right? He wants to see everyone coated in plastic. And what do we see today? But literally plastic clothes. I actually had a jacket. My mum bought it for me while I was back in Perth. And it was plastic. It was just plastic. And I got here and Kelly looked at it and threw it in the bin. So it's gone. But, try and clothe yourself in natural fibers, man. Hemp, cotton, all these things that we have. US Reset, thank you for being here. Rainbow Maker, hello. Tone Lemon, Tone, thank you for being here. Nick Watson, oh my gosh, these flies. Sorry, I'm sitting in the cabin, and the flies are getting to me because it has windows, but there's no glass in them because they all got pulled out and moved to the shed, which is now the house. Max134A, hello. In my opinion, bells were sound weapons which would have rung out loud enough to be deafening. Yeah, like I said before, they tell us that they were to keep away the bad things, right? The trolls and all this kind of stuff. So I think that's definitely part of it. I think the smaller bells, when we see the what are they called, carousels? Is that what they're called, of bells in the basilicas and cathedrals? I think that they had a healing frequency. I don't think they're there to just tell people it's time to go to church, right? It's time to come and worship. Alva, how you going? They want us down in the lower vibrations. Yeah, exactly right. And that's why there's such a push on. I mean, if you watch any of these crazy videos on YouTube recently where they go and they interview young women of today, mainly in the US, man, I mean, talk about lower vibration. Everything's sex, right? Sex and money. Give me sex and money. They're not worried about relationships anymore. They don't want to relate to anyone. They just want a free ride. What they see is a free ride, right? They've bought the whole concept of it's all about how you look on the outside. It's all about how much cash you've got and what you have, how you can impress people. But we know it's not very impressive. Oh, 333 of you watching. Luminumi confirmed. Flat Earth Andy, hello, thank you for being here. Max, thank you for being here as usual. Michael Joshua Lewis, nice. Impressive amount of emojis there. Thank you for being here. Albie Allen, how do we acquire tickets to the Millennium Campout? If there's no link underneath in the description at the moment, I will put one when the stream finishes. But if you go to the last couple of uploads I have, you'll find them, or just go to tartariaaustralia.com and hit the experience tab and you will be able to get tickets there. Rusty Woodpecker, oh, thank you very much, and thank you for being here. All right. Yes, you are late. Great. I'm not going to put that up because YouTube don't like those words, I don't think. Texas Mama Bear, hello. Y'all come Texas. I was in Texas last year. I'm going to be back in the USA, but I won't be doing Texas this time. So maybe later in the year, it may happen. I have to see. I'm going to be off in Europe for 7 weeks, sort of 5 weeks or so in the US. Lots of travel, man. Like this is what we should do. They tell us don't travel, be scared. You know, they show us these stories of doors flying off planes, right? Don't travel, you might die. Be scared. You know, all these narratives of, you know, what's that movie? Leave the World Behind, right? The planes might fall out of the sky. It's very scary. When they tell me that, guess what I do? I go traveling. You know, this is the thing. And we've said it for years. Whatever they tell us, do the opposite. And that's what I literally do. So don't believe any of this crap, man. It's all a stage show. It's just staged to get us into fear. What is fear? False evidence appearing real. It's not true. Do the different. Do the opposite of what they tell us. The bells ring at a different time every 15 minutes, so you know what time it is exactly. What? Every 15 minutes? Oh, my God. So, yeah, and that's how they create time, right? Like you go and talk to, you know, some natives living out in the jungle, you know, in the Amazon or somewhere. Ask them what time it is. They'll look at you like you're an idiot, and they'll probably say it's daytime, right? Because their lives aren't sectioned up into little snippets, right? They live, they experience. They don't have to stop smelling the flowers because they're like, oh my God, I got to get back to work or the boss will yell at me and I'll have no money. No, they live. So the only time is now. You can't live yesterday. You can't live tomorrow. You can only live now. Shana Haim, wish you were coming to the UK. Oh, thank you. Maybe on the cards, bit of traveling coming up in the next few years. Like I said, they've told me not to, so I'm going to do as much as I can. So yeah, it's on the cards. We might, maybe, you know, it'd be good. Like there's lots of old world buildings, right, in Scotland and Ireland and Wales, England, all these places. So yeah, I'd love to get over there. And if Martin's there, you know, he's spending half his life in Texas these days, but if he's there, I'd love to say hi. And Paul Cook, who I may or may not be traveling with later in the year. You'll have to keep your eyes and ears tuned for that one. Apparently it's been let slip, right? The cat may be out of the bag. The Prague astronomical clock, Praski Olojo, is a medieval. There you go. And why medieval? Why not nice? It's only semi-evil. Medieval astronomical clock attached to the Old Town Hall in Prague. There you go. So I think I'm going to be in the Czech Republic, or at least close. So hopefully I'll get to see it in person, right? I will make a video if I get there. Mississippi Sidewinder, hello. Healing Light, hello. Thank you for being here. Milo Aaron, DN, MA, welcome to you all. And yes, please give me a like, leave me a comment, hit the bell for notifications and all these kind of things, right? Pascal Van Warren, Pascal Van Waveren, Adventure. Greats from Poland. Where is Poland? Oh, do you mean Poland? Sorry, Poland. Yes, that's another sort of place that I might be visiting. We're doing the tour. It's starting on the 5th of May, goes for 17 days. We're going to visit star forts, castles, star cities, old world cities, and pyramids. 2 pyramids, the Earthen Pyramid, and finishing up at the Bosnian Pyramid. And we're going to be shown around by Dr. Sam's research team, and the man himself will be there. He's committed to a full day with us, but you know, hopefully we can talk him into a few more. But that's something that we're probably going to repeat as far as, you know, the pyramid in that area in the future. But we're also going to be going to some different places because there's so much, you know, on this realm for us to see so much of the old world, right? South America, there's India and parts of Asia, and even America. We're sort of sticking to the cheaper places, right, to make it affordable, and to the cheaper places are less ruled as well, right? Less structure. So welcome to you. All right, Leslie, thank you for being here. Amos, hello. 11, Melissa, Andy, 11, hello. Thanks for being here. Eric Farmer, the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys didn't surf. Did you know that? One of them surfed, and the reason they became the Beach Boys is because they needed a theme, right? So, I mean, they could promote. And in the 50s, surfing was sort of just coming up, with the Malibus, those massive 10-foot boards, and they were the cool kids. So that's basically why they became the Beach Boys. So when you see these pictures of them all standing with their surfboards and stuff, it's all just like everything. It's just a show, just a charade. All right, let's get back to the rest of these pictures. Let me just find out where we were. Where were we? Been through the bells. The bells. Quasimodo, right? I think we were around here somewhere. Okay, so let me present. All right, so this is, of course, Chicago, right? We've all seen this statue looking down the canal, the arts building here, all this amazing stuff, and they burnt it. Now you tell me, is that a piece of wood that has bent? Or is it maybe metal? Same thing, right? Same thing, like bits of masonry and brick and stuff all over the place. But again, it's just plaster, guys. It's just plaster built in a year, don't you know? In a year. Now imagine how many tradesmen you would need just to build this one building. But they had so many, right? These tradesmen and artisans, there were just so many of them that they just brought them all in and built whole cities in a year with them. Of course, doing something that we can't even do today without much higher level of technology, or so they want us to believe. But I mean, that is true. But the truth is that this wasn't built in the 1880s. In my opinion, it had probably been there for 500 years at least. But that's why it had to go, right? Too much freedom. And of course, this is again the Chicago World's Fair. And so this is the narrative. If they don't tell us they knocked it over because it's only temporary, then they burnt it. Right? Burning bricks, glass, and metal. Because that burns so well, don't you know? Just check out all the great fires, man. And look, everyone's just standing around. It's like it's a show. All right, come and watch us burn this down. All right. Here we have like the fireman. He's too scared to go close to it. Got a few over here, but this is the thing, right? And what really are firemen, or what were they in the past? Were they starting the fires? You're firemen, fire bugs. They don't put out fires, do they? Okay, so here we have what looks like some wood. You can see it's all charcoal, some wooden, and obviously floorboards and stuff here. But look out in the distance. This building is, the whole frame is still standing. Got Ferris wheels and things, but this is a kind of destruction that these nefarious ones, these non-humans like. They like destruction. Like, we're into construction and they're into destruction. This, I don't know. I don't think this is a photo. I'm pretty sure this is a drawing. But again, it's showing us that these are metal framed buildings, right? All metal frames, brick facades, none of this wooden plaster that they tell us in the narrative. It's just such a silly story. And they forgot to get rid of all the proof, right? Again, now this is the Crystal Palace. And of course, this is the second iteration. Because like I said, it was built for the 1850 London World's Fairs. by a gardener, don't you know, or at least designed by a gardener, and at a time when they didn't have the facilities to make that much glass or panes of glass big enough, you know, as big as the ones that were in the structure. So silly story, right? And this is what happened. It burned. Okay, this glass and metal structure burned. Have you ever tried to burn glass or metal? You know, we've all seen what's happened recently in, you know, places like Hawaii, Chile. You know, is that what they were using to destroy these buildings? Because this is clearly just twisted metal, right? Twisted metal and broken glass. So was there some kind of beam that may have been a certain color coming down from above? And isn't it interesting that, you know, we've all heard of Project Bluebeam and the whole story with Werner von Braun and his secretary, you know, who's talking about, you know, all this stuff and Project Bluebeam. And what do we see recently, right? With these fires. Interesting, right? But yeah, this was moved. This deconstructed, sorry, not this, deconstructed, moved a couple of kilometers, built again, and then burnt to the ground. So pretty sure that there were two crystal palaces. So what happened to the first one? You know, it's not in the narrative, but no, you know, obviously it was destroyed, right? More destruction. And this one does look like it's got sections on it. You know, so was that just a facade? Probably, because in the background here, we've got all this metal, right? All this metal infrastructure. But this is what they love to do. Oh my gosh. Don't know why this keeps happening, but my picture has frozen again. So I'm just going to quickly come back and reset. Not sure why it does that. My computer must be getting old and tired. Okay. So this pic here is the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia. Again, cracked, but look at the size of this. And here we can see how it is hung. So, you know, it does have to go off to the side. But that first one we saw in Russia, it had a cross up here, right? So, excuse me. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but how did they hoist this? How did they get it up there? You know, apart from how did they make it, and how loud would it have been? And this writing on it, why is it in Greek? Why is this dated in Greek when this is in Philadelphia, USA? You know, still a young city, young country, trying to get its identity. So they just use, you know, other languages, right? That doesn't make sense. What have we got here? It's a bit hard to read. That looks like it might be a date. But look down the road, right? Look at this. Old world structures everywhere. This looks like it's in the 30s. This again, this does look like a photo, but this, that doesn't look like it's part of the photo, man. It looks like someone's just drawn that in, like, ah, it's on fire, jumping out the building. I mean, you know, there's only one tower here, but remind you of anything? All right, the narrative just replays over and over, right? But this is what they tell us, that these things burnt, right? This clearly masonry building just burnt. But this clearly being tampered with. This, again, not real. These, you know, maybe part of the original photo, but this dude and this dude, I mean, come on. Someone's just doodling on that picture, right? It's just, and this is what they give us for evidence, man. It's just silly. This is New York World's Fair. This is from 1965. Just to show you, man, that they kept doing it. They kept destroying. So this, I haven't really looked into this one, 1965 New York World's Fair, but it may have had some old world structures in it that they wanted to get rid of. So what do? They hold a fair and then they burn it to the ground. All right. So this is the remains of the Ferris wheel from the 1904 World's Fair. I mean, what the? This thing has just been destroyed. Look at the size of this cogwheel. Again, where were they forging these? How were they moving these? Because, here we go, this is the tech. All right, do you really think that this kind of level of tech could move this? Silly stories, you know. And Ferris wheel, they got some wood around here, but look, most of these are just boxes. But, you know, what do? Like, Ferris wheels can't be made of wood. Look at this axle, man. Look at the size of this and all these cables. How are they making cables when this is their level of tech? Just crazy. Now, I think this, well, it must be a different one. There's another Ferris wheel from a World's Fair. I can't remember which one it was, but basically it was the biggest Ferris wheel ever and the first. It had, what do you call them? You know, the places where you sit, the cages, what's the other word for it? Pontoons, whatever, you know, where you sit in the Ferris wheel. They could hold 50 people per carriage. Yeah, we'll use carriage. 50 people per carriage. And what did they do with that? They buried it. They literally buried it in the ground. All right? Who would do that? You make the first Ferris wheel ever, that big and extravagant, and then you destroy it. You don't, you know, say, wow, look what we can do. Look what we made. This is amazing. Look how cool we are, right? Let's go forward. No, you destroy it and bury it in the ground. And this one, clearly, I don't know what's happened to this. Doesn't really look burnt or melted, does it? You know, and, you know, the temperatures you would need to melt this kind of steel would, you know, probably only come from above, right? This is Sydney, Australia. And these are the controllers. And this dude's going, look what we destroyed. That could not stand here. That represented freedom. Of course, you know, they've put their own little statue here to do with what? War. This is a soldier. I think it's a soldier. He's got a little helmet on. A couple of hound dogs. But yeah, this is the Garden Palace. Of course, a nice obelisk in the corner. All right, because that's so Australian. But burnt. Look at all this corrugated iron and stuff that they're just throwing in. So this, though, bricks everywhere from a temporary wooden plaster building. It's another shot of the same building, you know, clearly all clearly bricks. And the way that these have been scattered, if this, and the story is that it burnt down, right? One, where's all the charring? Why isn't it black? You know, it should be covered in soot, right? But two, how do you get this effect from a fire? Clearly, it looks like it's been blown out. You know, a bit of dynamite. Or, you know, fire, right? What do they do from cannons, right? Ready, aim, fire. This is the Crystal Palace, the second Crystal Palace. And isn't it interesting they have a lot of these photos of these buildings actually burning, almost like it was staged or something, right? So this is in the 30s. I think it was 36 when this one burnt down. I think the next one, no, maybe the next one, it shows people watching, right? This is it again. Like just metal everywhere that, you know, clearly, you know, the narrative just doesn't make sense at all. At all. The firemen. This guy needs to be fired, right? Just sitting around on the job. Got their shiny little helmets that look, you know, very sort of Spartan-like, don't they? So this is 1936. So they do have a little fire truck here, pumping water from their big tank. This one's got a ladder. But yeah, look at this, right? This is the remains. And what do we get but a steel frame? So it looks like that they've burnt as much as they can, and then they've just gone and knocked it over, right, to create this effect. Oh, it burnt to the ground. Don't you know? Another one. So something's hit this. Something, I would say something with a lot of heat, right? Because these bars don't seem, it doesn't look like it's an explosion. But this in the foreground looks like it's an explosion. And I guess, once they burn it, then, they love their narrative, right? Oh, well, it's unsafe, so we have to knock it down, even though it's been standing there for probably 500 years, right? Missouri, State Building, 1904 World's Fair, destroyed. I'm not sure what all, oh, they're chairs. Well, so that's interesting, right? This photo was marked saying after it was burnt. These are all wooden chairs. Why didn't they burn? Interesting question, right? Clearly, this is not wood and plaster or stuff. There's even a flag here, material, untouched. It's very reminiscent, right, of what we've seen recently with these fires, where you get, excuse me, literally you get things that are completely destroyed, and then next to them you'll have like a tree or a house, something that's been completely untouched. Right? Almost like whatever did this was focused on a certain area, like it was a beam of some kind. All right. I don't know how this one, don't know how this got in there. Okay, but interesting. This is Rome in the 1750s, right? Pyramids. We now know there's pyramids everywhere. They are not for dead kings and pharaohs, and the whole place mud flooded. And this one's got a castle attached to it. Vedula de Sepolero di Caio Sefio. There you go. That's my best Italian. But yeah, so the old world, man, it's definitely not what they told us. World's Columbian Exposition, Chicago, the White City. So again, this is burning. There's clearly flame or smoke coming out. Something's burning. And look at all these people sitting around watching it. Come and watch the old world destroyed. So these kind of people, right? These are probably all part of the nefarious group, right? They're probably enjoying this. Because normal humans, this is not a good sight. Again, from the Columbia Expo. I mean, I don't know. Is that real? Is that even real? It doesn't look that real, does it? All this smoke. We've got the firemen putting out the fires. And it's an interesting question, right? That looks like it's been superimposed. So has this smoke been superimposed? So no, but look at the smoke here. Right? There's something going on with this photo. And now with all the AI, we have to question all this stuff. How real is it? How long have they had this AI tech? They've now got AI videos, man, that you literally can't tell the difference between those and real footage. It's crazy. And here's another hands on hips man. All right. What's with the hands on the hips? Another one. What's going on here? Hands on hips people. So this is what these buildings looked like in their glory days. Amazing, oversized, completely symmetrical, very creative. These amazing facades. Of course, they turn all the free energy spires into flagpoles, right? So everyone, thinks that they're part of their country, and of course, you've then got to dislike anyone else from other countries because your country's the best. All right, nationalism. But this is what they look like in their glory, and this is what they did to them. All right, and again, you can see the metal framing in the background. You can see this isn't burnt. It's not charred. It's not covered in soot. this stuff looks like wood. Why isn't it burnt? So clearly that they were using other technology to destroy these buildings. And some of the narrative says that they did, destroy them on purpose because they were only temporary, right? And they would have fallen down, even though some of them are still standing 150 years later. I think we saw this one before. Did we? This one, I think, is in Germany. Old world building, made of plaster and wood, but somehow when you destroy it, you get all this stone and geopolymer stuff, concrete. All right. Another one with this metal framing. So we can see the construction process that they would make these metal frames and then cover them in, bricks. And then they would facade over the top of that with all their, the white facading and all their iconography and logos and stuff. But they want us to believe wood, plaster, and then it was so temporary it had to go. And again, we can see, it looks like a bit of a stairwell. You can see going up here, you can stairwell up the middle. Why? Stairway to freedom. We've seen that one before too. Another one. Now this actually does kind of look a bit like it could be wood. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell. Down on the ground here, these definitely look like wood. But, this big column here has fallen over and it hasn't really broken. You would think that it probably would if it was wood. This one's about to fall, but look at this. It looks like there's cables and they're trying to pull it over. I didn't attach this one too well. It's just ripped a bit off the side of it. But yeah, man, they've just gone in and destroyed it all. So that one, who knows? Maybe they did build a couple of temporary ones. I don't know. But what we do know, here's another pic, is most of it was definitely built to last forever. Because like I said, many of these buildings are still standing and they are in better condition than the buildings that we've made since. Not us, right? The brutal, nefarious ones. Well, there you go. Look at this one. I've only done half the job. So again, looks like metal framing, old world, features everywhere. And in the background again, looks like a completely iron framed building. And they just would go in and destroy these and rip them down and throw them over or burn them. Here's another one. All right, get the crane in, start destroying this baby. All right, actually hard to tell if that's wood or metal, but they just go in and destroy all this stuff. And this one, where is it? It's in the USA. They destroyed it and then they said they rebuilt it. More just pushing over these amazing towers. Tower to where? I don't know. Somewhere on an airship maybe. Oh, and is that the end? That may be the end. I think that might be. So I'm just going to check. I'll stop sharing. Yes, that's the end of the destruction. All right, 350 of you with me. Thank you all for being here. Excuse me. All right, thank you all for being here. Blimp Station. Yeah, man. Reptilian tech. Well, what we've been told, the narrative of reptilians, if they even exist, is not that they're into creativity and freedom and all this stuff. Like, do we really think that kind of a mentality? If the ones who wish to rule us now are reptiles, we know these people aren't creative. They're brutal. They're brutalistic. So I don't believe that this kind of, creativity and imagination could come from people without any creativity. Just my opinion. Autodidactic, that's San Francisco. They apparently tore it down in the 1960s and then rebuilt it. Yeah, that last picture. Yeah. And when they rebuilt it, it was covered in swastikas, don't you know? Interesting. San Fran. Oh, everyone's saying it's San Francisco. Yeah, no, that one is in San Francisco. I think John Levi's covered it a couple of times in videos. Yeah, man, they always destroy the good stuff because they don't want us to have good stuff, right? They don't. Hello, Muddy Waters. They removed it all to set up their monopolies. Yep. Yeah, basically. Old pyramids are shown trying to be destroyed. Yeah. In well, even back to Napoleon. So the story says I was shooting cannons at it, blowing it up, using it as target practice. What the hell? Spellbreaker Bob, have you heard of it? Yes, we all know about Tavistock, man. We do. What's the guy's name? His surname's a girl's name, but I can't remember. Yeah, man. Yeah, of course. It's all a show, man. It's all a facade. It's sad, right? Because all this cool music that we grew up with from the 60s, 70s, 80s, a lot of it was good music. I used to love it, and now we understand it's all just programming. It does, man. Like, yeah. But, the good point is we're still here, we're still creative, and we can build it back again. Oh, who has Searcher One? Thank you very much for your support, for your kind donation from New York. I appreciate it. Freeman, apparently a sphinx carving on a beach trail in Sydney. I haven't seen that one, no. That there are different sphinxes around, though. There's one in Pakistan. I've seen actually, I may have seen that. It's really, really, really weathered. I think I did see something on that, actually. But yeah, I think that, all of the old worlds seem to use the same template, the same iconography. We see the same stuff repeated everywhere. So it definitely wouldn't surprise me. Thank you. Thank you, Searcher One. Timothy Tice, thank you for being here. Jurgen's Junk, hello. Well, it's still going, so you're not too late. Juggernaut. Yes. Salt Lake City, welcome. Nice. Some interesting stuff in Salt Lake City. Have you seen the old picture that shows that it's a big dome thing next to the temple, and it's got airport painted on the top of it? Very interesting. Disease, that which only seeks to destroy beauty. It's a war on beauty, yeah. War on beauty, creativity, expression, all that kind of stuff. That's why school exists, right? That's why the first thing they teach you after spelling is you got to get rid of your imaginary friend and your imagination, right? You're not allowed to express yourself. You got to sit down, cross your arms, do all the teacher told you. Put your hand up if you want to speak. Crazy. Oh, thank you, Denise. Much love to you. Thank you. Much love to you. Look at the love. Thank you all for the love. Oh, I didn't see that one. Same posture. Who? April Parker, and hello to April Parker. Sorry, I missed your comment. Oh gosh, there's so many comments I can't find it. Where are we? Activated pineal reptards. Cold-blooded. Yeah, man. Miss Blue, hello. Wipe out civilization. They seed the planet with people again using artificial birthing machines. Yeah, exactly right. The baby incubators keep us confused and working for nothing pretty much, and trading, all right? Worthless paper for actual resources. Alva Billy, thank you for being here as usual. Shannon, I think they brought people up from underground. Yeah, well, that's a good point. Why were they all, with umbrellas, big hats and the clothes. Even in Australia, where it's really hot, the women have these massive dresses on with multiple layers. The men have always got suits on with, shirts and vests and hats. It just doesn't make sense, right? So yeah, maybe they were hiding themselves from the sun. And the interesting thing about a suit is it covers your whole body, right? When we're talking about men, it covers your whole body apart from your hands and your head. So were they hiding who they were underneath? Were they somehow different to us? Right? And of course, what's in a suit, right? You have a collar and a tie and cuffs, all things used on slaves. Sean P, rebuilding it makes no sense. It doesn't. Samantha Stevens, I'm sure there were wealthy families that did not destroy their blimp. Oh, clearly, yeah. That they keep the old world tech for themselves if it helps them, for sure. And blimps, right? Are they using those to go to maybe lands that they don't want us to know about? Maybe out in the Pacific somewhere, maybe up north somewhere, maybe out on the outer edge, right? Because I definitely think there's more land. Whether that be in the realm that we're shown or beyond, I firmly believe that there's more land. And I even heard someone talking about, are they going there like things like the Titanic? Did that maybe just sail off to the northern regions, right? And they just show us, some other. Well, I mean, it might not even be real, right? That what the footage we've been shown of the Titanic, that came out in the 1990s. So did the Titanic with all its wealthy bankers just go to Hyperborea? All these planes that go missing, are they just flying off somewhere different? Anyone read Atlas Shrugged? Interesting book. Mandy Russo, thank you for being here. From their perspective, I guess. Thanks for being here, Sean. I watched, Notre Dame, right? Or Notre Dame. Construction sheet was of steel. Yeah. I mean, and like I said, they're still doing it, right? That was only a few years ago. We are in a farm. Well, they call us chattel. They want us to be in a farm, but we are wherever we create. We are. I think if you believe their narrative, that's where you are. But we're the creatives. We are the creation and the creators, right? We are from the creator, but we have the ability to create. They don't. So we can turn this all around, man. We can rebuild, a world that, like it used to be, is for everyone and is amazing and awe-inspiring, right? Get some awe in yourself. That's why I love to say be awesome. Awe. When you just stand and look at things like, wow, awe. Get some in you. Annie D, hello, how you going? Saw a derelict building for sale, built for Glasgow Fair. Oh, nice. Bought by a company who moved it to Scotland. There's so many stories of that, of these buildings, being moved, and literally some of them. There's one in Australia. It used to be a train station, and the story was it was like a cemetery train. Like this whole big train station and train track was literally just made, so they say, to move dead bodies to the cemetery. And then it got sold to a school who took it apart brick by brick and then moved it to another state and rebuilt it. So I think they say that because they're trying to explain the fact that there are buildings that are exactly the same across the realm, but they can't explain that in their narrative why that would be. And I believe that is because they're not buildings as far as housing for us, right? They are machines of some kind. My gosh, so many comments. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for your time and your perspectives and your comments. True Earth Whisperer. Time warp, man. Let's do it again, right? Let's do the time warp again. It's just a jump to the left, don't you know? All right, get off the road that they're trying to make you walk down. take a different route. It's just to jump to the left. Blah blah blah. Everyone, thank you all. Yeah, exactly right. It's like the light, right? The light can take away the darkness, but the darkness can't take away the light. All right, I've got one other thing I would like to show you all, which unfortunately, again, it's about their nefarious ways and how they like to destroy, the old world that I fully believe we created, at least our ancestors, our lineage, the real ones down here, the light. We created this, and they come in and destroy it. So you may or may not have heard this, but Easter Island, right? We all know about Easter Island and the Maui. Easter Island fire causes irreparable damage to famous Maui statues. And of course, if you didn't know, these are actually full statues. They have full bodies. So, these have clearly been inundated at some time and buried up to their necks and above. But it says here, a forest fire that tore through part of Easter Island has charred some of its monumental carved stone figures, known as Maui, authorities have said. The blaze reportedly swept through the Rapa Nui National Park, 3,500 kilometers off the west coast of Chile. Isn't that interesting? Anyone else heard of, some interesting fires in Chile recently? Interesting, right? Causing irreparable damage to the archaeological site. More than 100 hectares or 247 acres were affected in the Rano Raraku sector, which includes the wetlands and the Maui sector. Look what, reporting, right? Reporters used to have, ethics, right? They used to do a job, but we used to call them journalists because they used to literally carry journals around and write down and go and find their own stories. Now it's one narrative and Facebook pages, right? They're apparently now where you get the news and the truth. Interesting. Carolina Perez, Cultural Heritage Undersecretary, I wonder who she's under, said the island, which lies 3,500 kilometers off the west coast of Chile, had been razed by flames since Monday. And isn't razed an interesting word? Right? R-A-Z-E-E means destroyed and taken down. R-A-I-S-E-D means built up. Interesting. Rapa Nui has more than 1,000 stone statues, giant heads that are believed to have first been carved in the 13th century, well, by some. Carved, who knows, by the island's original inhabitants, right, with their stone tools. The area around the Ranu Raraku volcano, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, right? Another way of saying you cannot go and explore there. Believe our version. Was reportedly the most affected, and an estimated several hundred Maui are in that area, as well as a quarry. And basically it says that, here we go. So the director in charge said the damage was described as irreparable. Apparently some of them were almost like melted. We can kind of see here, see how it looks kind of, all the distinct features have gone. It looks like it's been melted by some kind of chemical maybe, or maybe, some interesting colored beam from above, maybe similar to the one that hit Chile just off the coast, right? The Maui are totally charred, and you can see the effect of the fire upon them. So this still goes on. They are still out there. And I think it's because they do things like this because no one can, Easter Island's in the middle of the Pacific, right? There's nothing around it. So not many people go there. But people have been asking questions recently. The pictures have come out that these are full statues, which, by the way, was discovered in the 50s. Right? They never told us that, but it started coming out in the excuse me. Well, I knew about it, I think, back in the 90s, but it's really only the last sort of decade or so that it's come out that they're full statues. So they got to go and destroy it, as they usually do, right? To hide their lies. So there you go, another bit of sad news for the old world. Well, who knows? I mean, I know Wise Up talks a lot about petrified wood. I haven't been there, but the pictures I've seen, they do look like sort of rock, crystalline rock. They don't, petrified wood tends to look more like, I guess, like marble. Like, you see the different layers and veins and stuff in it. It doesn't look so crystalline like sandstone and stuff. So who knows? I don't know. I never say anything is a definite, because we don't know unless we were there, or unless we can get there and make do proper research on it. Then we don't know. It's all a narrative, man. Everything. And as soon as you say something is right or wrong, you charge it as positive or negative. And when you do that, it's in charge of you. You can no longer revisit that information with an open mind. So personally, I don't say anything is absolute. Could be. There are stories that Australia's red, right? Covered in red dirt, red dust. And there are stories from around the 1900s, around 1901 maybe, of a lot of red dirt falling. Yeah, man. And there's other narratives going back where it was almost sinking ships and stuff, all this dirt falling. At the moment, there's pictures of the moon coming out, and people are saying it looks like it's rusting because it's going red. Has that got something to do with it? Is it something to do with the anode cathode running out? Don't know, but we're getting closer to the truth. But in the end, I think all truth is really just perspective, right? We're all in our own little world, and your truth is your truth, and it should be. But my advice would be, don't make it absolute truth. Always keep yourself open to new thoughts and new information. Thank you very much. Yeah, mind blowing. Yeah, it is, man. It's yeah. I agree. It's interesting. Put it next to their narrative, and it just becomes silly. Tonlemon, Mu, and Lemuria have something in common. Yes, the middle two letters. Yeah, I think they're the same place for sure. And what was it? Was it Japan? Is Japan the top of that continent that sank? Who knows? Was it out in the Pacific? Could be. We don't know, because you can't go out into the middle of the Pacific, man. If you take a boat, you're on the boat routes that go around the Pacific Rim. Same with planes. With an airship, you could, but of course they banned them, didn't they? When were the borders established? Which borders? Countries? Well, that was soon after they got rid of the kings who had kingdoms and the princes who had principalities, and they replaced them with the people who rule countries, if you know what I mean. Yeah, man. There's no lines. You go up in a airplane or up high and take a photo. There's no boundaries, man. It's all imposed in our minds. We're one. They just countries and borders are just for separation, and that's not a perspective on what's going on in the USA at the moment. But that's about division as well. But they've reversed it, right? Oh, hello, Jackie. Hello, Shannon. Mama Bear, how you going? Guitar gear. Yeah, well, I'd have to have better photos to yeah. If you've got any, man, send them to me. Email address below. Some said the head. Yeah, they all have full bodies. I've got the pictures. I'm not. Oh, let's have a look. Can I find them? I'll have a quick look. I've got so many pictures though. Unless it's in a file called Easter Island, then it may be hard. We can do a search. Easter. Let's see what comes up if I search my computer. Oh, actually, I can probably search the Google's probably still has it. No, that ain't working. Talk amongst yourselves. 1 minute. Okay. Internet speeds are a little low at the moment. A little slow. Okay, I'm trying to search and it's making circles. So, but I can pull some of those up. But yeah, definitely 100%. They all have full bodies. 100%. Well, maybe not 100% right based on what I was just saying. But with all the information I've got, the photos which are from the 50s don't look AI, then that is definitely what they show. Yeah, exactly. Right on to you, April. They have to have permission. Yeah. I agree. Don't give them permission. Don't give them money. Don't give them your time, effort. All effort, should be going into how to not give them your time and effort, right? They have no jurisdiction. They want us to register everything. Regis means king. Turd as in interred, like when you intern a body into the ground, you give it to the ground, right? Register, give it to the king, give it to the ruler. That's what happens when you register your car, man. Yeah, it could be charged bricks. We know that they can use bricks as batteries for sure. It is. Yes, and questions are better than answers, which is something that they've taught us the opposite to. They want us to think that answers are the best thing, but they're not. Because clearly, if you don't have the right question, you can't get the right answer. I think so. I think that is the kind of theme of this live, right? That goes through all the pictures we've looked at from 1850, from when the World's Fair started to Easter Island today. It all has a very common theme, doesn't it? Rapa Nui was the first movie, doubles in Catalan. Oh, okay. Was that the recent, or not recent, a couple of, 10, 15 years ago, with that dude who played Bruce Lee? Can't remember his name, but yeah. Rapa Nui. I did not know they made it in a native tongue. We know Sherry. If anyone doesn't know, Sherry loves chocolate. Yeah, the rusty moon, man. So yeah, is that got something to do with the red dust? Who knows, right? We have lots of petrified examples where I stay, and you can see layers where it is buried soil unless petrified before dirt. Yeah, when I was in, I think it's Arizona, is it? The petrified forest? When I was with Mr. Martin Liedtke, we stopped and had a bit of a look at that. So, petrified, right? Scared to death. How many people were scared to death of Medusa? Ooh, is there a theme there? Who knows? All right, so an hour and a half now. I'm going to have to wrap this up soon. Like I said, I took the dome down yesterday. Still got to go take apart my little shed, which was housing my solar setup. And tomorrow the container comes and it all gets packed in. Then I'm going to head off to my mate Jethro's for the night, and then off to the airport, and then off to the USA. So lots happening, and of course. And in between all that, I've got to organise the Mulaney event, which is pretty much organised. But Kelly's, a Virgo, and like I said, detail, and of course she wants to make it extravagant, as she always does. So we're going to go over that today as well and get that all sorted. So lots happening. Apparently, Australia has a lot of gold too. That's what they say. Been on Gold Rush. There's nuggets just laying. Yeah. I mean, 1840s, right? Is that right? The gold rushes in the 1840s, 18. What's that? 40s, 49ers. Yeah. It was all these gold rushes around the realm were all at the same time, pretty much. And gold nuggets are very interesting. They look like molten gold poured into the ground, right into the hole in the ground. That's what it looks like. These melted old cities. Again, from those funny coloured beams. Who knows? All right. Oh my gosh, I'm so far back in the comments. Redneck Rebel, how you going? Thank you. I shall. Thank you, Jackie. We appreciate it. Hope you're coming to the event. Love to meet you. Are we have an astrologer? Yes, she is. Yeah, exactly right. Be of this world, but not in it. Have a perspective where you can see what's going on, but not be part of the confusion, right? Get a bit of perspective. Shannon, thank you for being here. Melanie, thank you. Canadian cute. Oh, cool dude. Canadian cute dude. God bless you. Thank you for being here. Leo here. I think I'm a Leo with a Leo rising. I'm like a double Leo or something. But there's other. I'm still learning about all this horoscopy stuff. I'm not the best on it, but my sun sign is Leo. As you can see, right? With my mane here. Oh, okay. Oops, sorry, Jackie. Hopefully next time we'll be putting something else on in the second half of the year for sure. Thank you for being here. Just doing biz. Benny Rodriguez. Yeah, so much kenosis, right? And that's the other thing, right? They want us to be full of information, but have no knowledge. That's what an expert is, man. They can repeat back all this information to you, but they don't understand it. They can't put it into action. So they don't know. They have no gnosis. They have no knowledge, but they think they're intelligent. And so does everyone who repeats them. It's very annoying. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's interesting, right? We are revealing it, though. The veil is being lifted, which is what apocalypse means. And that's what's going on right now. Oh, man, the world's biggest nugget, 220 pounds. Woohoo! Someone would have had a nice life after finding that. Polyester, how you going? Thanks for being here. Kevin Bell, the Tibetan monks living in a rainbow body, says it all. Oh, I haven't read that one. Living in a rainbow body. But we do have lots of accounts of individuals and civilizations, yeah, right, leaving somehow, disappearing, ascending, whatever it may be. Very interesting. Oh, hippies fasting. Wow. Nice. I have another friend who's fasting because it's the full moon. Is that why you're doing it? Apparently that's when you should fast, because the parasites, not the ones outside, but the ones inside us, the little ones, apparently they propagate around the full moon. So that's why people fast there, so that they basically starve them, right? So they don't multiply. Jackie Miller, got a mane. Oh, you're in Tennessee. I did visit Tennessee last year. Nice state. Went and saw the Parthenon and the Temple of Athena, or the Statue of Athena. It was very cool. They can never go back to their original dimension. I don't think so. I think they're soulless and bodiless, like that. They have nowhere to go. They steal bodies, right? Body snatchers. But when they die, they just float around and become ghosts and demons and things. Maybe. Who knows? Castle in the Pasture. Nice. From Iowa. Thank you for being here. Drumstick 174. Thank you for being here. Chuck try. Gold and silver in the rivers. Yes. Yeah, I did a chat with Ryder from Raised by Giants, and that's what he was saying, which I hadn't really thought of, that they're mining all these minerals out of the ground because, you know, what they're supposed to do is be in the ground and be taken up by the vegetation, right? The trees and the other bits of food that we eat. And so obviously then when we eat it, we get these metals in a monoatomic form. So if they strip the soil of all the good metals, you know, the gold and silver and everything, then we don't get that. So that's an interesting point, right? Faster, I know. I feel like I'm a bit slower at the moment. I'm not fasting. What was the free energy grid? It was a grid that gave off free energy. Look around, check out Michelle Gibson's work, and she's going to be joining us on the Great Tartarian Tour, by the way. Star forts, grid lines, there's all these lineups, and all these big structures, old world structures are all connected, right, in different geometric forms and different angles and lines. There's definitely some kind of grid, and I think it was there to give out, you know, good energy. They build these star forts and other structures on vortex points, right? We've all heard of ley lines and song lines. That's what they were taking advantage of, and basically giving it out, amplifying it so that everyone could use it to become better, become healthier, become more. That's what I think it was. But there's a complete grid, man. It's not that hard to see. My one is eating like a king. What do they say? Eat like a king in the morning, a prince at lunch, and a pauper at night, which is probably true. We shouldn't be going to sleep with bellies full. That's what sumos do. That's how they put on weight. They have big meals and then go to bed. So, yes, eat most of your calories. Well, not that calories exist. Take in most of your energy earlier in the day when you can use it. And filter your water. All right. Do I still use frequency forks? I do at the moment. Most of them are packed up. This has been my sort of issue recently, is with everything that's gone on and moving and changing, a lot of my stuff is packed up basically in storage. So once I get back from traveling, I want to get a proper setup, something a bit more permanent where I can have all this stuff. I've got so much stuff. I've got all these tuning forks and orgonite and tensor tools and all really cool stuff, most of which has been gifted to me as well. So yeah, that's what I want to get done in the second half of the year, is get a little permanent, you know, place that I can return to after all my travels. All right. Could be, Eric, could be. Maybe it's one big flower of life, right? And the flower of life, you know, holds in it all the sacred geometry as well. So it could be. All right. Yeah, Nashville, that's where it is. National Parthenon. Yeah, it's just, yeah, that's it. Same as the one in Greece, man. But, you know, just built for a World's Fair, don't you know? Oh, my gosh, so many comments. Thank you all for being here. 329 of you still here. Tom, how you going? Thank you for being here. Well, I don't know. Maybe she is. Maybe she's not. But, I mean, you know, judgment, right? Do we really want to fall into that? Do we really want to point fingers at people because they don't believe what we do? Because that's really a game of I'm right, you're wrong, as far as I'm concerned. You know, I've mentioned before, the whole flat earth thing is, you know, people jump from the ball to the flat earth as being their ultimate truth. It's definitely this map. We don't know it's that. You know, since then the moon maps come out, crater earth theories come out, extra lands come out. We should take what we can. You know, if there's something interesting, take it on board. If it's not, leave it. But as soon as we get into this pointing fingers, what are we doing? We're creating division. What do you think these nefarious people who are trying to rule us want? Division. Okay, it's us against them. It's not us against us. So that's my advice on that one. Is if you're a flat earther, great. But you know, it's no reason to hate someone because they haven't assimilated that information yet, or come up with the same idea that we have. Let's not play into their game, right? Anything that causes division is their game. It's a trap, as far as I'm concerned. Thank you, Jonathan Sherman, for being here. Keep an open mind, everyone. Hippie Shake, thank you again. As always, we all love Hippie. She does such a good job on multiple channels, with her moderating and making sure she has all the links and everything and supporting everyone. So thank you. Big thank you from me for all your work, Hippie Shake. Yes, I agree. Everyone's got their own opinions. Can't force people to believe what you do. Exactly. It just degrades into I'm right, you're wrong. And let's not do that. Jack, thank you, Jackie. Thank you, everyone. Exactly right. Simulation theory is another one. Right. So like 10, 12, or probably 14 years ago when Flat Earth came out, it seemed to be we only had ball Earth or Flat Earth. Now we've got multiple theories coming out, and any of them could be true. We don't know. So don't put things in charge of you, right? Don't charge them as positive or negative, right or wrong. Just keep your mind open. And with that, I shall bid you all adieu. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. Hope you have an amazing day wherever you are on the realm. And I shall talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.